What? What's that sound? Where? It's aliens and they're living in your town. Damn. They have arrived. What? They're all around. So many aliens living in your town. Are you scared of aliens? Well, you should be.
What's up?
What up?
I can't hear it. Oh, shit.
Yeah.
Well, I gotta tell you, the podcast has started off again with some technical glitches. Denny's, where's my thingy at for my headphones?
It'll be that zebra striped cable.
Thank you. How's everybody doing out there in Weirdo Land?
Good. How about yourself?
Crew? Goonies? You guys are my Goonies. Goonies never say die, right?
Never say die.
Do you know that movie, Vicki?
Yes.
Very well?
One of the first tickets I ever won on our radio station.
Really?
Well, look at
Tickets to
that.
see the Goonies.
Can you name 3 characters from the movie Goonies?
No.
Really? Oh.
That's how long ago it was. I mean, I won tickets in, what was that, like the 80s?
Beckett, can you name 3?
I don't want to answer. I don't want to be kicked out of your place.
Can you answer that?
No, I can't.
Are you shitting me?
I can't.
Both of you need to leave my place right now.
One of
Denny's,
these days, we should actually get up and leave and see what happens.
Go have some pizza.
I guess I would go with chunk.
Okay.
Sloth.
Okay.
Mouth.
Thank you. What the shit's going on around
After one
here?
of the podcasts, you brought up a reference, and in my inbox, I got like a bunch of people sent me pictures of Sloth or something because we were talking about it and I didn't know who it was.
I'm a big fan of the Goonies. I always ask parents to let their kids watch or have their kids watch the Goonies and then email us back and give a report. Does it still hold up? That's always my thing about these movies that I loved as a kid. I love the movie Splash with Tom Hanks.
Does that one still hold up?
Does it? When a kid in today's day and age, I'm saying age 14 or younger, would they like a Splash? Would they like a Goonies? Would they like a Bring It On?
Bring it on.
Bring it on.
That's the cheerleading movie.
I like how you
Even
slid
I
that.
like that one.
Has spirit fingers.
That's a great movie.
Yeah, it is.
So a lot of stuff to get to tonight. Vicki, the one thing I wanted to ask you, just to have a little psychic fun, I lost my book bag. I have no idea where it's at. It's weird. I had it yesterday at Denny's place. There's no way I would ever leave it at Denny's place. I just don't see that happening.
I forgot to look too when I was there.
That is the short-term memory right there. Do you sense my book bag anywhere here? And do psychics actually have a specific ability not to read people's lives, but to actually find things in with a product or an item?
I think it depends on the importance of it. I had somebody contact me because they lost a necklace that actually contained their father's ashes. And I think because it was his ashes, it was so much more important. And I told them exactly where it was within, a couple minutes. But that same person, their son had lost something, and maybe because it didn't have ashes in it or it wasn't, I didn't get the right message, I couldn't find that. So I think it depends on the item.
I guess my question, too, is could you have somebody who has psychic abilities that can't read people but could find items? That's their specific gift.
Yeah, everybody has different gifts. Some people have, multiple gifts going on at the same time. Yeah, I mean, if that is what you really wanted to focus on, that was what you would practice and you would focus on. That would be your specialty.
What do you sense with Beckett right now? Is he in a dark place? Is he in a light place? I felt like when he was going to get ayahuasca, he was a man searching for answers, as we all are. Am I off on that?
Yeah, you're 100% right. Yeah.
Okay, so
I'm still looking for answers.
I think we all are, Beckett. But I want to know if you can sense a different energy with Beckett from tonight to about a month and a half ago.
I don't sense anything too much, but I see him as a person who goes to the edge of something and then comes back.
Yeah, I do.
You go to the edge and then you come back.
Are you kind of in a nice way, in a psychic way, calling him a pussy?
No, it's the opposite. It sounds like I go to the edge and then I reel it back in.
Yeah.
Okay, so he's not a P. He is
not a bitch boy, apparently.
By the way, 18 and older.
Looking back, do you feel anything's changed since your ayahuasca experience? Because now it's been a little bit further.
I think that I can do a better job because, one of the things that they say is it makes you aware of a problem, but it doesn't fix it, right? Like it's 10%.
Yeah.
It's an important step is being aware and conscious of things, but it's how you integrate it, and do I go back into certain ways that I know aren't the best path for me? Yes, I have done that. Have I sometimes caught myself doing things that I became a little bit more aware of? Yes. So it's made me more conscious of that, and I can do a better job integrating those things in. But I think I'm definitely better for it.
Would you say you're trying to find a spirit? Like you're kind of on a spiritual journey. And when I say spiritual journey, I'm not saying religious. I think I'm saying more of you trying to find who you are or why this is going on or what this is all about.
Yeah. I think that I know myself, and I think humans in general and animals are this way too, but I have a way stronger sense of self and motivation when I have a purpose. Some people I think are more so that way. I've always been that way. If I have a race coming up, I'm good about eating right, not drinking, waking up, not hitting the snooze alarm. If I don't have that, it's hard for me just to wake up and go to the gym and to be in good shape. So I need purpose, and that's important. And yeah, I mean, I'm in my mid to late 30s now, so like I'm kind of like,
By the way, you got to pick a lane, brother. You can't say mid to late. You're in your late 30s. I'm sorry.
So I turned 37 a few months ago.
Yeah, that's
late
late.
30s.
That's late?
That's
You're
late.
the beginning stage of late.
All right.
You're staring down the barrel of 40. I got to tell you, man, honestly, it's really not that good.
Yeah, I'm in my late 30s, and real estate is great. I enjoy certain parts of it, but I've never been passionate about it. And I know, and I think I can probably find a gear within that domain that's passionate. But I know that if I am passionate about something, like no one will beat me. So spiritual, even though I've had ups and downs in my entrepreneurial experience and career, spiritual is always something I felt could be more full.
Dennys, can you be spiritual but an atheist?
Yeah, I guess. I mean, it depends how you define spiritual, because I think that term gets used a lot. Kind of like, we have a lot of like buzzwords in society that we use a lot to generalize things.
Like farm to table. Farm to table, all of a sudden, 2018, everyone's using it.
Oh, that was a popular one for
Gosh,
sure.
we're going F to T, baby. Farm to table.
Or everything says natural. It says like natural fruit made with natural this, natural that. A lot of that's really, I mean, if it has to specify, it's not natural.
And it's kind of annoying because that's how everything used to be.
But so, are you saying that can you be an atheist? Because I feel like
so. I think you could believe in nothing and still be inspired and still feel movements from what you see and interpret, but you just believe there's no other meaning behind it than its surface beauty, I guess, or its existence.
and live in a code of a spiritual morality where you're not fucking somebody
you're
over.
You're not trying. You don't have to be. Atheism doesn't mean you're a bad person. You're out there
Exactly.
just causing anarchy and such. It's more so that you just don't believe in any sort of higher or governing power. That you yourself, human person, whatever the term is, and that's what I guess you would focus everything into. You believe in yourself more so than an outside party.
It might even be spirituality in its purest form, because
Yeah.
a lot of it, if it's connected to religion, a lot of things you do because you're worried about a punishment or, a consequence of what you do from a higher power. But if you don't believe in that higher power and you consciously always do the right thing, that's like in its purest form.
And a lot of teachings, man, they teach restraint. They teach people how to control themselves. I mean, no matter which book you look at, I mean, a lot of the simple lessons in there are based around things that we would do either to protect ourselves or to protect our loved ones.
My question for you, Vicki, is you are in the spiritual realm. Do you, and me and you were talking about this before the podcast, I feel like I, without a doubt, believe in a higher being. I look at the sun, the moon, the earth, animals, all the specifics of everything, and I think there's no way this is an accident. There's got to be a design. But then I struggle with certain things with religion. I feel like it's very human-made concept on a lot of stuff. And I also feel like sometimes maybe this is just a weird accident. I don't like when I feel that way. So my question for you, being very spiritual, and I challenge myself to be spiritual because I want to live in that world. Do you ever struggle with being spiritual, saying, I don't know if there's anything after this? And is it okay to have those thoughts?
I think all of us go through those thoughts at one point or another. I mean, the more that you get in touch with your spiritual side, the more you develop your ability, then you're able to see other things on the other side. So then you have a little more confirmation that there is something after all this. But I understand. I mean, everybody, regardless of the subject in life, you go through moments of doubt, and you go through moments where you change your own thinking and you turn it around.
And I don't think you should feel guilty about that. I think it's okay to question religion.
I think it's good to question things.
I think it's okay to question God. I think it's okay to do that and not feel like you're a terrible person. And
I think they want you to question God.
I think some people don't want you to question God. I think some people want you to believe everything that the pastor or preacher is saying. You don't question it. In certain,
But that could be a teaching moment as well. You question something, and if the person rebuttals in a way that affects you, then it would be a positive outcome.
Yeah.
for yourself.
They would
searching
reaffirm.
for your
Well, yeah, they would
answers.
reaffirm your religion into you.
Any
Opposed-
leader like that would be a red flag to me as a cult. My growing.
Yeah, you're a Manson family member.
Right, exactly. Growing up in Christian school, like the teachers, like when we had religion class, they encourage you
questions
to ask questions, and I think that's an important part of the learning phase. I mean, that's inherent in your DNA when you're a little kid. You're like, why is the sky is blue? Why is this? Why is that? So it's important, yeah.
Going back to Beckett, just so you know, I see you doing something in the realm of public speaking in order to be inspirational, kind of like a Tony Robbins or something like that.
Cool.
I see you, definitely you have the ability to go in that direction.
Awesome.
Tony
Thank you.
Robbins without the scandals.
I like
yeah.
Google the scandals, dog.
it. Is it Rebuilding Bird, maybe?
By the way, I'm glad you brought up Rebuilding Bird. I have gained some weight back, and I would like to get shedded off. Let's bring that series back, Rebuilding Bird. Are you in?
Yeah, I'm in.
All right, cool.
Well, I get the best feedback, and I think you said you guys got it in another bit, that reality TV show thing we did when I was teaching you how to make kale chips.
Yeah.
People love that one that we did. That was people's favorite one.
Hey,
Yeah.
I'm willing to be too, because you and I discussed it. I've been on a diet. I've lost 20 pounds
You look
so
great,
far.
by the way.
look
People are
great.
loving your plaid shirt. But you look great, Vicki.
But I've lost 20 pounds, so I'm willing to do something too.
Okay.
If you can take it, because right now I'm kind of plateauing a little bit.
Okay.
If you can push me to the next level,
Yeah,
I'm
I
willing
love
to.
it.
Ariel, is everything okay? Just as we're live, when I see our producer shake her head and throw her hands up, I get a little nervous. We're all good, Ron?
Yeah.
All right.
Ignore my email. I sent you an email. Ignore it.
You send me an email right now? Oh, my God. I would never read it during the podcast. Okay. Denny's, I think it might be time for a little bit of
Denny's Random
Facts.
Very cool. You guys heard the story of DB Cooper? It was a pretty popular one. If you hadn't, I'll refresh it.
Is this the airplane dude?
Yes.
It's a very good story. They never caught this son of a bitch.
No,
did
they didn't. So
Sorry,
DB
did I just...
No, that's all stuff that was needed to be mentioned. So I'm going to just refresh everybody on it. It's a really cool story. But DB Cooper is an unidentified man who hijacked a Boeing 727 aircraft in the United States over the airspace between Oregon and Seattle. Wednesday, November 24th, 1971. Purchased a ticket under the alias Dan Cooper, but through miscommunication and publications, he got known as DB Cooper, extorted $200,000 in ransom, parachuted out of the airplane, and was hunted by the FBI for many years and was never found. And they believe that he escaped. He's actually, it remains the only unsolved case in air piracy in commercial aviation history. Well, anyway, so the reason I bring up D.B. Cooper because of that amazing story, there was a not-so-amazing story of a guy named Glenn K. Tripp, a D.B. Cooper copycat who tried to copy a similar ransom style of hijacking this airplane about 11 years later. Well, he asked for $600,000 in ransom, but when he wasn't looking, one of the stewardess spiked his drink with Valium. So about 10 hours of a standoff in negotiations, his final ransom was 3 cheeseburgers and a head start so he could escape.
Oh, my God.
Because he was so doped up after 10 hours.
All right, as you know, if you've been listening to the podcast, Vicki is our educator. She gives Denny's a very harsh grade because of an email a couple weeks ago trying to coddle our sweet Denny's.
Yeah.
Denny's needs no coddling.
It's fine.
Well, that one, first of all, I gotta give him, a little kudos because it actually has 2 parts, and I found both parts interesting. I gotta go with an A.
Yeah.
An A. All right,
Nice, started
Denny's.
strong.
I had a store. It was a 2-puncher.
Look at you.
No, I'm just kidding.
And go back to and watch that the documentary on that the drawing of them, all that stuff.
They have a sketch. It's an infamous sketch. He's actually like heavy metal bands have been like named after
He
him.
kind of
and
looks.
stuff.
Does he kind of look like Freddie Mercury a little bit?
Kinda,
Yeah,
minus the mustache.
Minus the mustache.
So was the second guy was just walking around with a rocks glass, and because the guy was getting a little thirsty during a ransom?
yeah, it was
That's amazing.
Damn.
So it was 81. What's up?
Sorry, not to interrupt you, but the chat room has spoken for the grades on that factoid.
All right.
I mean, B. C for cheeseburger. B minus. Denny's, you're the fucking worst.
I mean, all those are passing though.
Nobody said
I don't
that.
see that.
No, but a lot of B's and C's.
They're thinking it. And actually, season 4 of that TV show Justified features a DB Cooper copycat as well. In case you wanted to check it out.
Interesting.
So you guys know the term libations?
Yep.
The practice of pouring out alcohol in memory of those who have passed has been dated back to ancient Egypt, Greece, and Rome. In fact, pouring one out for the homies is a custom that's over 3,000 years old. It's even mentioned in the Bible, the Iliad, and the Odyssey.
Pouring one out for the homies.
Pouring it out for the homies.
If I died, do you pour one out?
Yeah, for sure, man.
And do you give a big old speech?
Oh, yeah, I'll give a big speech. I'll play the song you want.
He'll cry.
I'll do it all.
You'll help cater it?
Yeah.
I mean, I want a real diva-like funeral, man.
Yeah.
It's all about me, man.
There'll be a lot of JMO being passed around.
Definitely.
Do you want any JMO? Do you need anything? Or
I'm
you...
good. I'm on the cleanse.
Oh, God, it's so annoying.
What kind of what inspired the cleanse?
I just do drinking too much.
Regret mistakes. I hear you, brother. I need to go on I'm about to go on a cleanse. I just bought that bullshit treadmill that I need to get on because it was kind of expensive, and I haven't used it once.
I hate that this is the case, but my work is better, my school's better, my energy's through the roof, like, you know, so I always do these like resets every once in a while because being in sales and dating and all that, like before you know it, you're like, man, I had a glass of wine at least like every night this week.
Yeah.
You know, like it's a lot, you know.
Are you single these days, Beckett? Because even though I made a plea on the air last week about stop asking me if Beckett's single, still getting shit.
Yeah, no, the honest truth is that it's complicated.
Love it.
It's he loves the drama.
He loves
Beckett loves the drama.
I do like the
This
drama.
poor
a
Beckett
little
loves
bit.
drama.
I do like the drama. a little
That's because he keeps going to the edge, but he doesn't go over.
That's
It
right.
goes, see, I go to the edge and then I go past the edge. That's- I'm single for a different reason.
Bird, this one's for you. You know you're always trying to beat the Guinness World Records. Well,
trying.
You're always trying. I mean, you're aiming for it. So what about this case? Two twins, 10 years old, Davy and Daryl, spent 3 years biking from the tip of Alaska to the tip of Argentina to set a Guinness World Record, which they had contacted the company, had gone through it, made sure they did everything on the up and up. And when they finally completed at the age of 13, they were denied the title because of a stipulation and a change of category. In fact, by the 3 years, by the time they finished it, they had changed the way they categorized their world records, and it exempted them from the one that they were currently in. How do you feel about that?
Let's say I tell you, Denny's, you're really
Well-
peaking low.
I have to take points off because he said two twins, which means two sets of twins.
Dog.
Damn.
So
Or
I have
repetitive.
to mark you off for the
That's fine. I'll take
Being
it.
improper
redundant.
use of
I'll
the word
take it.
twins.
Yeah, and I kind of trailed off. I started thinking about dinner with that
Yeah.
fact. I'm going to be harsh on that. And again, because of that email who tried to protect Denny's a couple weeks ago, I'm going to give a D- on that one.
That's fine.
Chat room, am I right about that? Was that factoid bullshit?
I will even back you up with a D.
Damn.
Damn.
Maybe-
I won't bring up depressing Guinness stories anymore.
He kind of sandbags sometimes, and he has extra facts to like throw there at the end. There,
Oh,
right?
shit. Beckett's getting it on the. Get him, Beckett.
No, I'm saying that's good. I'm saying it
Yeah.
because I'm curious if you know, because I don't. What's the longest bike ride ever?
I haven't looked at that.
Because that would be
up.
interesting. But
Yeah, what
So
is
this
the-
was
what-
attempted-
Does anybody know what the longest book?
You don't care about that
Beckett.
record?
I did Florida to Cali. It was 35 days.
Nobody doubts that.
Nobody does.
We definitely think you rode from there to there.
I grew a beard, so it was more dramatic.
He loves the drama, ladies.
I like it. I do. John drama.
All right, Denny's, because I'm not gonna even. If I actually told you the response in the chat room, you wouldn't sleep tonight.
Get out of here. All right, let's see what you think about this one. Do you guys like ruby red grapefruits? You guys like grapefruits? Red
Hate it.
grapefruits?
I fucking hate grapefruit. I
God,
hate
grapefruit's
no,
one of my favorites.
Hate it.
I don't
Hate
really,
it.
I don't really like the fruit.
It's so bitter.
It's real bitter and
So
tart.
That's why I
tart.
like it.
Ugh.
I love bitter fruit.
You have to put 10 pounds of sugar just to survive.
Yeah.
Dude, you would cringe because I don't even put sugar on my grapefruit.
Ugh. Vicky, thoughts?
Ruby reds can be sweet though, depending on
They can. Those are
when
the
in
best
season
ones.
It is.
Not the
Yes.
good kind of sweet, though. Becky knows the kind of sweet I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Don't you, Becky?
Yeah.
Well, so ruby red grapefruits in general, were created by growing grapefruit trees next to radioactive materials. They found that it mutated their DNA and it made them actually better than the original, which is why they're sweeter because they're irradiated. What do you think?
Interesting. I will give that one a B. I used to work at an orange grove, so I like that one.
Did you?
Yeah.
By the way, like orange groves and cornfields, very high stat for murder there.
Cornfields, I'd see. I don't know about orange groves.
Dog, look up orange groves and murders.
I'm sure. I'm sure in any sort of like forest.
I'm not trying to get into a factoid off with you.
I
I'm
get
not
it. I
trying-
get it.
Do you want to read any of the chat? The chat. By the
Go
way,
on, let's see what the chat
The
says.
chat rooms are being a bunch of dicks tonight.
Yeah?
Oh yeah. D for dull. Grapefruit is
Dole,
weed.
D-O-L-E. That ties in, right? It's fruit.
That fact was so bad. I want a divorce. That's your wife.
She's always trolling.
That's great.
Gender in the chat room.
You.
All right, give us one more. Give us one more so we can make fun of it.
Yeah, I'm going to do a fun one. I was going to do a nice one for Beckett because I know he likes Einstein there, but I'm going to skip it because you guys are in a weird mood.
No, baby, we're just busting.
I'm
you.
trolling, I'm
We're
trolling.
totally kidding. That one girl who emailed me to defend you, how we're so harsh on you.
Oh, yeah.
He's really getting the business tonight. Oh yeah.
So in 2017, a woman called the police on her 99-year-old grandma to be arrested. And the reason was because it was on the 99-year-old grandma's bucket list. She wanted to be booked. What do you think?
I mean,
That got an eye roll. It didn't even get a grade. It got an eye roll.
Don't make me say it, Peace Train.
Wait, that was lame? That's fun. That's a fun one. I did that one as a fun one for the end.
Beckett, be honest. Did you like it? If you loved it, give it a good grade.
I liked it. I love it.
Crossed
I
off
liked
his Beckett list.
There you go.
That's his Instagram. That's why I said it.
It's good.
Now, if you want that science one, I'll throw it at you.
Yeah, give us that sign.
So I thought this one was really cool. And Beckett, I know you're a lover. October 1971, a physicist and an astronomer took 4 Celsius beam atomic clocks aboard a commercial airline. They flew around the world twice, and when they reunited, the set of clocks were found to disagree according to the predictions of relative theory. So Einstein accurately predicted that time moves slower the faster you travel.
That is interesting.
Okay,
Weird,
now
right?
we are.
It's actually-
I give that an A.
Time is affected by height from the Earth as well. If you fly higher than lower, the times will be also off from each other. Weird, right?
That is very weird.
If you want to look at the numbers, there's a whole algorithm that shows you how this is solved and why it works.
Vicky, I think he brought it at the last
Yeah.
one.
That one was just a pure
It was
science one.
balanced, A to A.
Yeah, I
and
love it.
all that stuff in between.
2017, cops arrested 99-year-old grandma.
That's still an
So
eye
you can
roll.
cross it off the
That might have been your
I was
weakest
throwing it
one.
back in just to see if it changed because of the last.
That was a
All
terrible.
right, get out of here. That was fun.
Kinky
That was
grandma.
that's for the kids.
Totally kidding with you. What do we got here? Okay. I have a question for, and forgive me if I repeat this from last week. If a living person wants to come back as a ghost when they die, do we do this? Is there anything they can do while they are living to make that happen? If I knew I was going to die and I wanted to come back as a ghost, that's my purpose. That is what I need in my journey. Is there anything I can do?
Well, if you consciously wanted to stay here as an earthbound spirit, I don't know how much power you would have on purposely ignoring the light when it comes to you, but that would be, your only opportunity is to, ignore the light and not go to the other side.
I mean, you can train for anything. Beckett trained for Ocala, the bike ride. You can't train in your regular life to want to be an earthbound spirit if that's what you really want to do.
You basically have to miss your opportunity to go to the light.
But when you get to the light, all of your training, wouldn't that kind of kick in?
You have to consciously not go to the other side. Now, you can still come back. If you have lived your life correctly and you have loved ones here, you basically go, you check in, and you come back, and you can still come back and make your presence known. You just wouldn't be an earthbound spirit if you've already crossed over.
Are there ever mistakes? For example, let's say a serial killer accidentally gets through to the other good side. Does that ever happen? There's mistakes with everything. Are you trying to tell me the next realm is completely perfect?
For what you're talking about basically you're hinting about the difference between heaven and hell, correct?
I'm thinking about just where positive spirits go. Does it ever, one ever sneak in that shouldn't be there?
What I've been shown is that everybody pretty much goes to the same place. But depending on what kind of person you are, there's things you have to do. There's things that you have to learn what you should have done here. And there is a quote-unquote punishment for what you've done. It's just usually in the form of time and losing your free will on the other side.
Becca, you had a question?
So is the light not just a Hollywood thing? It's an actual.
When I help earthbound spirits, I actually call for I visualize the light. I visualize loved ones coming for them, and I have physically seen them look up and see this light and go towards it. In this one particular cleansing, I've mentioned it before, we had 2 dogs that were outside, and there was a sliding glass door, and when the people went up into the light, the dogs actually looked up and watched them go.
Oh,
they
wow.
could see those spirits, and they saw them go up.
Yeah, interesting. I had on the ayahuasca experience, I had a light experience. Mine was more, they said if you're left brain, more logical, black and white thinking, it's more of like that voice inside your head, and people that are more artistic have more of a visual type experience. So I had an aspect to the visual experience, which was more like a collective conscious with like the group of people. There was like 18 people in part of the ceremony. And then my dog that had just passed away, like I saw her and I almost like saw her like go out in a form of light from my chest, like into the air, which, you know, I'm not really like a really artsy creative person, but like that was my one main visual experience. So that was pretty amazing. It's one of the reasons I asked about the light.
Talk about visual experiences. If you've heard the story earlier today on the KVJ show, I apologize, but we do get a lot of emails about people who dream these vivid dreams. I have, for the last, I would say 6 nights in a row, Vicki, I have had the most vivid dreams or night terrors about Armageddon. I mean, it is awful to the point where the last one that I had, I'm watching all of West Palm just be destroyed by the buildings are falling into the ground, fireballs are falling from the sky, and I can see all this from my bedroom window, and my dad's right there. And I'm looking at my dad. I go, Dad, this is finally it, isn't it? We're all going to die. This is the Armageddon they all spoke of. He's like, I think it is, bud. And we start to hug, and all of the ground is falling into the earth, and it's about to hit us, and it doesn't happen, and then I wake up. I want to go through the panel here. You guys know me. Try to analyze that dream. Is there symbolism on that? Why am I having that 6 times in a row? And or is it just mere coincidence? Let's start with Denny's. Awfully quiet.
I'm absorbing it. There's a lot there.
I'll come back to you. Vicki.
A lot of people have reoccurring dreams with the same theme throughout their life. Have you had this same theme before?
I have, but I've never had dreams this friggin' vivid. I can feel heat. I can hear the sounds. It's almost like it's in 4K. It's so bizarre how realistic these dreams are.
Yeah. I mean, if I want to go all therapist on you, I would say it's more a manifestation of your fear that your life could possibly turn into this disaster and it be over without your control and without you fulfilling what you need to do.
You're talking about marriage. Talking about marriage, aren't you?
You said it, not us.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Okay, but the question that I get all the time
Becca
is, 'cause
plays
I talk
psycho.
about this on the KVJ show, is it the ghost in my place here causing me to dream so vividly?
No.
No?
No.
Okay.
No, because
So-
I believe in this case, especially, I think it's totally psychologically based rather than being influenced.
Beckett?
I tend to agree. I think that dreams tend to be a projection of what is in your internal psyche. And sometimes you're conscious of it and sometimes you're not conscious of it.
Yeah,
So
what does Armageddon mean for a dream? And It's all going down. What does that mean?
So I would say that you probably have some sort of anxiety about something coming up and falling apart, or you're a close family person, so it's it makes sense that your dad is there with you in it, going through something that is tragic in the future. But you worry because you care, and I think that that's part of why you would have a dream like that, in my opinion, my experience.
I would also throw in the fact that based on your job, there's a lot of things that you have to do that you don't really have a lot of control of. And in this dream, you have no control of the end of the world here. And there's all these things that are going on, kind of like you have to do this, this, and this, and you don't have as much time to do what you really enjoy.
Do you ever have Armageddon dreams? Anybody? Is anyone?
I did I used to have them when I was little.
Would you have them a lot?
I would have those dreams maybe once or twice a year.
Denny's?
No, I've never had one.
Really? Have you ever had a night terror?
Maybe like 1 or 2 nightmares over.
What was your worst nightmare?
I think when I was like 6, I dreamed there was a wolf outside my window. That was the last nightmare I ever had.
Werewolf or just a regular?
Just a wolf. I lived in Kansas.
What was going on with this wolf?
It was just growling, and I woke up, and then I never ever had that dream again ever in my life.
That's your worst nightmare.
Yeah.
That's insane to me.
That's
insane.
Never have nightmares ever.
I mean, the Armageddon dream is not even the worst dream, and I would say it's the worst in about 10 years, though. It's pretty horrific. There was one specifically that really shook me. All right,
It could be I just don't remember dreams at all. I might have nightmares every night.
Well, you do smoke weed. And
but I'm pretty good about cutting it off before bed.
I still think though it does affect it though. I really do.
I imagine throughout the day.
I think anything you put in your system can potentially affect the way you dream and do anything.
Totally.
I think you might if you didn't smoke weed, did no caffeine, nothing for 90 days.
Oh, for sure.
I wonder what your dreams would be like.
Yeah, it's weird. So if I drink alcohol, I will not dream.
Yep.
Absolutely zero.
for sure.
I was going to say the same thing on a cleanse. All of a sudden, my dreams are like way more vivid.
For sure.
There's got to be something connected to that.
Absolutely.
I have horrible dreams when I drink. Horrible, like loud, disturbing dreams when I drink.
No, I always dream. I constantly dream.
Me too.
I think some people just dream more, or like they have the memory of it. Like, because I didn't even dream when I was a kid, so I mean, I don't even know if it's necessarily pot related.
Interesting. Okay.
Definitely stopped completely having dreams once I hit the point where I started drinking all the time,
That's something else, man.
Yeah, dude, I never, ever have them. The only time I ever had dreams was when I was trying to quit cigarettes. I had that nicotine patch, and it causes lucid dreams. It's a side effect.
Interesting.
That was the only time I had dreams where I could document them.
I might try one of those.
Dude, they're pretty awesome.
He gave me one because he told me he had a
Get the
theory.
lowest dose and go to bed.
I do that with the gum. It helps you make it reach the flow state. Nicotine oxygenates the brain.
Totally.
Yeah.
He says bird. Because you have a theory. I think we even talked about it a while ago, but you should bring it back up. It's where I have to. I never confront the
your
problem
nightmares
in my dream. That's why I have
So if
so
you
many.
can instill a state of lucid dreaming and you can control the dream, I was like, confront your nightmares in the dream. I was like, take some nicotine patches. It'll make you lucidly dream, go into the dream knowing that it's a dream.
What happened?
And tackle
I
it.
had a 1940s
he was, like,
blues
sick.
player, sick heroin high. I'm on the side of my bed.
I think he took too high of a
Denny's.
dose. He was he
it
thought he
was-
was gonna die.
No, I was throwing up.
He was
Yeah.
sweating
I
himself out.
was
Yeah, it was rough.
texting the wrong people and saying the wrong
If you do
shit.
it, get
Not
the
good shit either.
lowest dose possible.
it-
Bird was like overdosed on
No,
nicotine.
it fucked me up. I didn't have any dreams. I didn't sleep because I was so fucking ill.
One night I took a full cigar, like inhaled it,
Yeah.
like took it to the head, and had like 3 glasses of like warm red wine.
Oh, God.
I was like in a fetal position, like spitting in the shower.
Talk about heartburn.
Oh yeah.
yeah, it's bad.
Too much nicotine will make you feel
Oh, it's bad.
awful.
Swirlies.
Oh, yeah. I hated what Denny's did to me.
Do a low dose. Or that gum probably works pretty well.
The gum was great. Get the
Yeah.
2 milligram and just chew on it like a jog, or you're trying to like write or do something. It's great.
It's funny because I think a lot of substances on this earth, or herbs, or whatever you want to call them, everything does affect our bodies in certain ways. It's
Yeah.
all about just controlling how much of it you use.
Totally.
I mean, and the way that you intake it as well.
Yeah.
It really is all in, moderation.
It is.
It's the people who can't drink because they binge drink and then they end up, punching their.
You could probably almost find a use for anything.
Totally.
I mean, even the ones that people consider bad, you know? I mean, as long as they're not abused. I
Okay,
feel
give me a good
Well, so
reason why. Let's go with meth.
meth? Well, so you got a bunch of shit to do and you got to get it done quick. I'd be like, hey, one day of meth ain't going to kill you. Just skip it, girl.
This whole house would be so clean.
Yeah, everything would be clean.
And by the way, with that said, everybody here totally does not like meth, and we
don't advocate it
We
by any
denounce
means.
it.
But I'm saying it's at some point. I mean, so think about a lot of successful musicians, and I'm only comparing this from what I know from music. A lot of people that have done heroin have gone on to. It makes you think so extractly that their music is affected by that. Their creativity, their words, all of that changed them in some way that then made them appealing to a mass market. So there's something to be said that, I mean, not to say go out and do heroin, but the way that it changed your mind, just like how you did ayahuasca, it changes your perspective. Anything that gives you an edge on perspective could potentially be successful or used in an art form.
Yeah, MDMA for therapy sessions.
They're saying that,
It's-
and the magic mushrooms.
I am seeing so many articles from Denny's people, dirty hippies, as they call Denny's. So many people are now, and I don't know, it's propaganda. I don't know what's real, but the mushroom I'm seeing a lot, and I'm just now seeing the ecstasy debate. And again, I am not promoting drugs. All I'm saying is these debates are now out there, and you're going to see them whether I'm talking about them or not. These topics are out there.
Yeah.
There are some people who believe that mushrooms can help with anxiety, depression, psychotic episodes, and then some people think you turn into a fucking maniac.
Well, so I think they say in hand with therapy, not necessarily
Yes.
just popping some mushrooms.
Totally. No, you
But
have to
with
do
a
the-
therapist,
yes,
it allows
yes,
people to reveal things about themselves they never would.
with
Yeah.
the right dosage as well.
Physician supervised and all of that.
Same with the
Yeah.
Molly that they're talking about. They're giving it to people because essentially it's a truth serum, more
Yeah,
or less.
MDMA.
LSD and MDMA will
Yeah.
definitely cause you to spill some beans.
Yeah, that's right.
So you wonder if they're using it for breakthrough psychologically with people who just have the walls up, you know?
Vicki, what are your thoughts on that? Being an educator and a mother, are you against the fact that there's so much talk about these drugs, saying that they're going to help people in moderation under the right doctor?
Well, the only thing I'll have to go back to Victorian times. Arsenic was actually made your skin look very nice. It gave you china skin. And so the women used the arsenic in order to look better. Now, eventually it's going to build up in your system and it killed them.
Yeah, it's poison.
So that would be my only thing with this. It's like, if you're going to use this even in small doses, eventually it is building up, and you're going to have some kind of side effect that is a negative one.
But do you know that for a fact, or are you just saying that?
I would say that there's enough of history with these things to figure that out.
This is why it's important for it to be physician supervised. I think the word's androgynous, and androgynous means that your body produces it. So with MDMA, you get a kick of serotonin, right? And like certain
Dopamine,
things,
serotonin, yeah.
things that are like already inherent in your body. So it's not necessarily like you're bringing something out of the periodic table that doesn't already exist in your body.
But again, you got to be careful. What about insulin?
Right.
So think about that. That is naturally produced in your body. You have too much,
Too
you
much
have
of
too
it.
little.
Yeah.
You're still messing with something
Do you-
that could cause harm instead of help.
Do you feel the same way about prescription pills, even the stuff
Oh,
that
I don't like prescription
or like a
pills.
Prozac, a Zoloft? Because, I mean, when I was younger, I was on that stuff. I was on Zoloft. I was on Prozac. At one point, a doctor, and this is how, in my opinion, how fucked up certain things are in the medical head doctor field. A doctor sat with me for about 5 minutes, asked me a few questions. Two of the minutes of the 5 were just getting to know me on a very surface level. And then, because I had anxiety issues, they prescribed me lithium. Now, lithium is a major drug.
Kurt Cobain was
And
on it.
not only did it cause me to go into a major depression, and I was on it for a good 3 months, my whole mood changed. My life fell apart trying to fix one ailment, and I was definitely misdiagnosed without a doubt. I mean, I should not have been on lithium, but I also felt like I was misdiagnosed with Zoloft and Prozac. I think part of my problem when I was on that stuff, I was a person growing up with regular problems,
Right.
and I did not know how to deal with them because I was a bit of a immature baby. And I don't say that against people who have legit problems, but in my personal case, when I look back in retrospect, I needed to do the own work and take responsibility for my own bullshit. My own bullshit was bringing me down on a depression and on an anxiety level, and it made me worse when I ended up getting on medication. Now, I think there's times where when you're talking about schizophrenia and people who really have an imbalance, it can help.
Well, realize schizophrenia, you can't, there's no cure for it. That the medication basically is just to numb you and to numb your mind so that you don't hear the voices. But
Sure.
That's another topic. But my problem is that, and this is nothing against people who have to be on medication for certain things. You know, my mom had her whole list of heart pills and blood pressure and all that kind of stuff. That aside, you got to realize, I feel in regards to mental health issues, if they get you on medication, you got to come once a month. They get your copay, and they get paid by the insurance company. They get a kickback probably, you know, from pharmaceutical. It's a business. And the thing is I think that there's so many things that you can handle by changing your diet. I can even go and talk about insulin or people who are diabetic. A lot of people who are diabetic, they change their diet. They don't need the insulin. So there's a lot of things that I think people can do and self-help instead of get prescription medication.
I just look back again at a certain part in my life where I was on medication. And I can honestly say to all of you, I didn't tell my doctor everything. I wasn't honest with my doctor completely. I didn't exercise. I didn't try to eat right. I didn't try to meditate. I didn't try to go within. I didn't try to get to the root of the problem. All I tried to do was take a pill, and I thought that was going to make me better. And I can tell you on a personal level, it did not for the type of problems that I have. And I just think sometimes there's a bit of an issue where there's problems and people just get a pill. And sometimes you have to fucking do the work and go through the shit you don't want to go through. It's a really shitty thing to learn the things you don't like about yourself. It fucking sucks, man.
Well, I had a friend who, she went to the doctor and her numbers were high and they said, well, you're diabetic. You're going to take this medication. So she was freaking out. She's like, I don't want to be. She changed her diet. She lost 10 pounds within the time period from one doctor visit to the next. Well, she goes to the doctor and the doctor's getting ready. Well, I'm going to up your medicine. She goes, well, why don't you do my blood work? And when she did her blood work, everything was pretty much in the normal range. So she changed it by changing her diet. So that's something, so you can find the way to cure yourself in some way.
I just think there's times where you go through the checklist of trying to help yourself, and if you can't check every single box and you're just taking a piece of medication, I think that's just something to look at, and that's all I'm saying. For people who suffer from the shit. I mean, I have severe anxiety issues to the point where they are crippling on so many levels. That it's affected me on relationships. It's affected me at work, my career. There's opportunities I've missed because I can't go somewhere. And even with all that said, I don't know if I've done all of the check boxes that I should. It's easy to have a couple drinks to just numb it. But there's a root there, you know, alcohol, pill, whatever. It's all the fucking same. You're numbing yourself.
Totally.
Taking that edge off.
And you're taking the edge off. And again, it's not easy to confront the demons that bring you down.
Yeah.
It sucks.
Well, the most important thing I think that you can be is self-aware. If you're self-aware, like that is like half the battle. So you knowing that about yourself and anyone in general, like that's the biggest thing. And then, it's a worthy goal to aspire to always check all the boxes you can. And then drugs, one of the last things. You know, with ayahuasca, they didn't call it a drug. They called it medicine because it changes the intent, right? You take a drug to get messed
Different
up.
connotation.
Yeah, you're going to go take something because you're going to go see Dave Matthews Band. You're going to take some mushrooms. That's a drug, right?
Yeah.
And drugs and medicine are one of the same, right? But you take medicine to get better. So that changes like the intent of what you're doing. You know, like I have a lot of friends that take Ritalin, not because they necessarily think they're ADD, but they think it helps them have more energy, and they don't.
And let's be honest, it makes them feel physically good. It gives them a boost.
That's right.
People got to be honest. There are some people that take medication because it feels good and it helps them get through shit.
Oh, yeah.
And you just got to be honest about that.
Yeah,
That's
100%,
all.
100%.
You know?
And people say like, hey, with ayahuasca, you could have done the same thing by becoming enlightened, meditating every day, doing some pilgrimage and whatever. And like, yeah, sure, probably I could have done that. But like for me, like I was like, man, I eat really healthy. Like I take care of myself. Like I've done the journaling. I've I've gone to the different seminars. Like, hey, like this is another. You know what I mean? Like
Journaling and
here's like
I love it.
here's another way because I heard the analogy that some people say, hey, it's like instead of climbing the mountain, you're taking a helicopter to the top with ayahuasca. I was like, damn straight. Like I got shit I got to figure out. You know? Like,
Yeah, and I don't want people to hear this and think I don't think medicine works. No, trust me. If I take two Xanax and walk in front of a building, I'm a lot better. But what people don't realize is that Xanax, it causes other, like you're talking about, it causes other issues.
Well, and it doesn't cure anything.
you're treating the symptoms.
You're
Put
literally
a
just
bandage on
That's exactly what it is. And, you know, getting to the root of it, it's a lot more difficult. It's a lot more heart-wrenching.
Yeah. I like the approach that my psychologist did in college because he insisted I be on Concerta, which is a form of Ritalin for studying and focusing and everything like that because I was all over the place with that. And I said, I really don't want to go on a pill. He goes, that's fine. He goes, but you're not taking this to get messed up. You're taking it to get good time management skills, study skills, whatever. So he had me work with someone that helped me get good habits, use the medication that to help me form those good habits, and then I could phase the medication out, which worked pretty well.
Yeah, but you were mature at that point.
Relatively, yeah.
So you were you were a little bit older.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Sure.
that would be the only thing that I would say from an educator standpoint. Like I can tell the difference when the children don't take their medication, and if they are completely off the wall, it does affect their learning. So when you're talking about a 7-year-old, they don't have the maturity level in order to do those other steps and check those other boxes. So again, it's something to help them through the time period until they can hopefully wean themselves off.
But do you see a mismanagement of the? We'll wrap this convo up, but real quick, do you see a mismanagement of sometimes where a kid definitely does not need Ritalin and the helicopter parent?
No, because actually, if it's not what you need, if it's not the medication, you're going to have the complete opposite side effect. Like a kid, if you think, oh, they're ADHD, you give them medication and they are completely off the wall, guess what? That's not their problem because it should slow them down. Just like if you, and you have a little classroom trick, if you have a kid who is ADHD and the parent does not entertain the thoughts of medication, you just give the kid a little shot of Mountain Dew every morning because the caffeine has the opposite effect. It actually calms down a child who's truly ADHD.
So funny. I get so many emails about I get more emails about Mountain Dew than I get about alcohol, about how terrible it is and I should never talk about it on the air. I mean, I used to do a bit called Drunk Girl Trivia, and I wouldn't get shit about that, but I get shit about Mountain Dew back then.
Yeah.
That's funny.
It's insane is what it is.
Our society's so woke these days.
Oh, we're a little too. You could be so woke till you're asleep. I'm not kidding. Dear Weird and Whatever, this is an interesting email. My first cousin is coming on to me. Did we read this email?
Uh-uh.
All right. Beckett's into this. I find her extremely attractive, and she lives across the country. We were having a family reunion coming up in a month. She has flat out asked me if we could make out at least. I'm not going to lie, she is smoking hot. I have never met her until I was an adult recently. We clicked when we met. Am I the worst person ever if I hook up with my first cousin? She's 32, I'm 35, anonymous in Port St. Lucie. And the first thing I would say is, I'm so shocked that we're getting an incest question from Port St. Lucie. Just kidding, Pizzle. You know I love you. You're my people, Pizzle. Denny's, you're awfully quiet.
Yeah, first cousin. There's so many people out there.
You think that if... Oh, okay, gotcha. That you should not hook up with.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many people. Like, why even...
So you're condemning this guy?
No, I'm not condemning him, but I just look at your options, dude. If you look at how many people are there, you have a better chance with somebody else than somebody family.
It would make your life so
You're
more
gonna have to
difficult.
know this person forever.
I tell you, I come home after a weekend and go Denny's. I had a family reunion. I hooked up with my first cousin. I never met her before, but she was so hot. Do you judge me quietly? Be honest.
Well, I would just be like, you're complicating your life here. I don't know why you would do that.
So you don't look down on me.
No, I just don't know why you would make your life hard like that. Like it's such a bad move.
I agree.
It's just
I'm on the same
I would
wavelength.
I would be like, your future's gonna be rough, dog. You're gonna have to see her.
It's like hooking up with your secretary, your best corporate secretary.
Oh,
like, why make your
never.
life
Why
more
even
difficult?
complicate
You
it
know, like
like
why
that?
even do it?
I dated a sales girl back in the day, and my God, was my life horrible.
So yeah, when
Did
people
sales go up or down?
They stayed the middle back then. They stayed. They were on par.
I feel like every time workplace relationships happen and they break up, somebody ends up quitting. It just happens. 'Cause
She
you
quit. She
you
totally
can't continue. It's so awkward.
Well,
what were you gonna do? You're gonna quit?
No, she told me that her and her boyfriend had broke up, and sure as shit, Vicky, they were still together. Just like a salesperson.
She just wanted a piece of the bird, right?
Saying one thing and then selling some other shit. Yeah, she wanted a piece of the bird. And bird was for sale at that point.
Real cheap.
Real cheap, Vicky. Oh, yeah. That was like an 08. Dude. I was such a different man back then.
But yeah, no, I mean, secretly, I would be like, it's just not good stuff to do.
Yeah, you can get attracted to someone else just as easily.
Absolutely.
If not easier.
Vicky, one of your closest friends, like a Bobby Joe, you guys are having drinks. You guys are a little tipsy. And she goes, Vicky, I got something to tell you. Is Bobby Joe married?
Yes.
Okay, let's say Bobby Joe's not married.
Hypothetical.
She goes, Vicky, you're not going to believe it, but I hooked up with my first cousin, Ralph. I've just met him. He's got abs of steel. His buns are even more steel. I just couldn't help it. We both had some margaritas. Do you judge her? Do you tell her to feel guilty? What does a Vicky give on that for advice?
Well, first thing I'd say is, yeah, only you, Bobby Joe. Because anything unique, it's going to happen to Bobby Joe. Yeah, I mean, it's kind of gross.
It is.
to me.
It's definitely gross.
It's and going back like in history, the royal family, they used to purposely marry close relatives. Well, look what happened. I mean, you had the stillbirths, you had the mutations, you had all these things that kind of shows you that's not what nature intended. So that to me is kind of the sign that it's wrong because, it has these side effects if you were to procreate.
That's why it's outlawed. So if you, I mean, you're just doing it for the love of the game, right? You're not. You just.
But then if you fall in love, then you gotta be like, then you got another problem about procreating. Even second cousin, you can't even go second cousin.
So no one in your family.
So are we all? Are we
You're
all?
gonna have
cool?
to see him at some
Go
point.
to another tree.
Cool? On the count of three, say yay or nay if we're all cool with hooking up with your third cousin. 1, 2, 3.
Nay.
Yeah.
I answered last.
I saw that.
Okay, fourth cousin. 3, 2, 1.
Nah.
I don't even know what that means.
Fourth cousin. I mean, me and you could be fourth cousins at this point. Becky.
Hey, you're 6 degrees Kevin Bacon, right?
How's that speaker?
Yeah, blown.
Okay, a couple more emails here. Dear Weird Whatever, I struggle with feelings of guilt about everything. If I say something stupid or dumb to someone, I take it really hard. I'll lay in bed all weekend long overanalyzing all these things that I said, and I know at the end of the day it doesn't mean anything, but yet it still affects me so hardcore. I would love some insight or some advice from all of you. How can I stop feeling guilty about anything? Can you actually not feel guilty about things? What can you do? Thank you, Amber.
I think you apply one question. Can you change it? If you can't change it, move on.
Are you also doing the same shit that's making you feel guilty? I've been victim of that where I've done things that I feel bad about, but I keep repeating myself. And I think, again, that's you have to dig deep. Why are you doing that?
Like a pattern of it?
A pattern of it. And
Yeah.
you know, there's a lot of people who are listening right now that are going through patterns of destruction in their life, whether it's smoking or drinking or whatever. There's different levels of it, and they know they shouldn't be doing something,
Totally.
and they keep doing it. Why do humans do that?
There's probably something.
And some humans don't. They get the message on they get the whole message on the first time, and they make the adjustment, and then other people just can't. Vicky?
I don't know. Maybe people are stubborn. What's that expression? Insanity is doing the same thing over and again and expecting a different result.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
But I think, I don't know. I guess if you have something, you have a mindset that you're going to do this and it's going to have a different, you just keep doing it. People are just.
Have you ever had that where you have been doing the same thing over and you realize you shouldn't be doing it? Whether it's dating the same
Yeah, I always
person,
pick the wrong person.
You pick the right person, and in the moment, do you know? Even when you're laying in bed with them, you know that they're the wrong person.
Oh, yeah.
Isn't that the worst feeling when you're laying in bed with somebody and you know in your heart it's the wrong move, but yet time marches on?
Well, there's Mrs. Right and there's Mrs. Right now, right?
Well,
So
someone took some quip pills today. Yeah, a lot of quips. That's good. You have a lot of these. That's what I'm doing business in. You have
The
to always,
analogies.
You always have
That's
to have like a little quip for.
That's right.
I get it, man.
That's right.
I totally get it.
But just tell Amber, I don't know how old you are, but trust me, you'll get to the age where you don't give a crap anymore.
Yeah.
So that's coming. As you get older, I find like every single day, it's like I used to be like that. I used to worry, did I offend the person? Oh my gosh, I said something that was really stupid, or I hurt their feelings, and now I'm like, oh,
We've talked about that as you got older. Like, it's a little liberating. Like, that's one of the benefits of getting older. It's liberating in that you can feel a little bit more comfortable in your skin, and you can look retrospectively to when you were a kid. You're like, I cared about that.
Well,
You know?
it goes about back to the whole thing on your deathbed when you're laying looking down that Grim Reaper's eyes, all this shit that you are feeling insecure about and having anxiety about, and I'm talking not. Well, maybe even some of the matters of the heart stuff. I think sometimes that can even play a trick on us. There's just so much that it really does not matter, and yet we feed so much to fear and to anxiety. And looking back on my own life, I would say giving into fear would be the worst thing I've ever done. If you can be a fearless person and feel the fear and do it anyway, there's a quip for it. That's a book. Feel the fear, do it anyway. You will always win, and you will always be successful on some level. There's no way you don't die winning in life if you could actually beat fear, and some people can.
If you ever feel unmotivated, find something you're afraid of doing and do it, and you'll feel like a whole wash of motivation.
It's like a drug.
Yeah, 100%.
When you realize that all of this is bullshit, and most of the time, like you're talking, Vicki, you'd say something that you'd feel bad about. Most people aren't thinking about you. You think they're thinking about you. They're thinking about their own neurosis, their own bullshit. That's how it goes.
Yeah. And the thing you have to remember, I think people, like, the more successful you get, the more you're going to get that, you know? Like, it's almost a sign that you're doing something right the more that you get that stuff, you know? Like,
yeah, for sure.
You know?
Yeah, I mean, well, it depends, too. If you're going to be somebody that is out, no matter what profession you're in, or what career you're in, if you're going to go out and be somebody that's trying to change and be a go-getter and make moves, you're going to always rub somebody the wrong way.
100%.
You're always going to have someone disagree with you, and you have to be built. Not to say you don't feel insecurity, but you have to be able to bounce back quicker than your average person. People, I think, like your Einsteins, I think they feel all that shit, depression and insecurity, but they were able to still get up that morning and do their shit and say, fuck everybody.
Totally. Sports, like,
all of that.
business, everything. It's important, yeah.
Well, I have to thank you because you know that you totally took me out of my comfort zone when it came to posting that video. Because, again, that was one of those where I knew that there was nothing done to that film. I knew that nothing was manipulated, but I still, that was out of my comfort zone to go ahead and post it, knowing that there were going to be people who purposely are just trying to stir the pot, or people, whatever. And I have to say, I don't regret actually giving it to you. And
well, I mean, honestly, Vicki, I was telling you today, if that video is a Rotten Tomatoes score, we're in the 90s.
Yeah.
So many people responded to it. In fact, the compliment and the comment that I heard that I love so much about that ghost footage is that we did not overhype it. Now, we'll get 4 dick faces that email me, you did overhype it, Bird, fuck you. Well, go listen to something else. I don't know what to tell you. But yes, we and it helped greatly our podcast. It helped greatly for our YouTube. It was really, it's at almost 12,000 views. It was a success, and honestly, that could get more views if it gets shared more.
Yeah.
Which goes into my next note. You guys want to help us? Okay, like the video. I know I sound like such a content whore, but it helps when we populate this video and it goes up and there's even 50 comments or 30 comments. It makes us look legit, and that's what we need right now. Our numbers are very good. Our social media is shit. You guys can help us. That's another email I get all the time. How can we help as a weirdo? What can we do? If you see me post something, please comment on it. Even if you don't like it, comment some negative shit. I don't care.
Yeah.
You don't have to love everything we do.
Yeah, it's good.
Like it, dislike it, share it, but we need interaction and we need numbers. That's just the way, that's the world we're living in, y'all.
Yep.
And you guys have helped us get to a certain point, but I know we can even do better.
Totally. What's the email that you said is the best email for questions? Some people, cause I took back over the Instagram. So if anyone wants to comment on Instagram.
Okay, so what we want to do is we're trying to build my Instagram. So if you really want to become a weirdo, go to Jason KVJ on Instagram. That's the first line of defense. Then you have a weird whatever that you're running.
Yeah, that's the handle.
I can't have, because the numbers are so low on that, I can't have sales looking at that.
Totally.
I just have to, we have to have numbers. So that's why I'm using my Instagram for that.
Cool.
So pad those stats for us, and it does greatly help. And when I say pad stats, just become a weirdo.
Totally. And when they have questions, the email, what's the email?
You can do it at mail@kvjshow.com.
Got it.
So
Okay.
that's the one we really, I mean, that one's so streamlined. Kevin does such a great job, and so does Denny's. If
Cool.
you send it to that one, we get pretty much
We'll print it
everything
out.
on
Okay.
that one. And there's just some emails, unfortunately, that they're either, we've already covered the subject, I just don't have time to respond to. It's not that I'm not reading them, I am. We pick the ones that are a little bit different, and there's some from even 2 months ago that I'm sitting on that you may hear in a month or two.
Right.
We're getting a lot of feedback, which is all so awesome and great.
Nice.
And I do have a little email thing. People have been emailing me at contact@pointparanormal, but there seems to be like I will get their email, I respond back. They're not getting my responses for some reason. I tell them to go look in their spam when I finally make contact, and it's not in their spam. So I am going to put out once again my personal email address. If you don't hear from me through the contact one, you can email me at nancy38drew@aol.com.
And you also can email the KVJ show. If
Denny's got that.
Yeah, it's funny.
if it's such a, I mean, there's so many ways to get a hold of us. If you email us one way, we'll get it to Vicki for sure. A few more emails that we'll get to. Not an email. Here's a topic that I saw. So have you guys seen this whole thing? Okay, boomer. That's the new thing where younger people are calling out older people for being old and out of touch with everything. Here's the thing. You're at a point now where you may get fired for calling somebody boomer on a job because it's considered age discrimination. And there's a whole law that protects people over the age of 40 about age discrimination. We have a clip over here. This is, I believe, is it in Britain? There's some woman, some congresswoman who's younger is giving the speech about climate change. And then an older woman says something in the audience. And she calls her, she says something, and then the woman goes, okay, boomer. And that's the new thing, calling people who are older boomers. My question after we play this clip, is it helping or is it hurting?
My generation and the generations after me do not have that luxury. In the year 2050, I will be 56 years old. Yet, right now, the average age of this 52nd Parliament is 49 years old. Okay, boomer. Current political institutions...
Oh, burn.
Okay, boomer.
Okay, so in my opinion, about 3 years ago, the media tried to turn everybody against each other with race. Then the year after that, they tried to turn everybody against with sexism or sex,
Gender.
guy versus girl. Not to say again, there's not problems with racism and there's not problems with sexism, because clearly they are. But the media just, salivates at the fact that we're gonna pit races together, we're gonna pit genders together, and now we're gonna pit ages together, old versus young.
Generations.
You guys are out of touch. You don't get it. You guys are young. You don't get it either. And there's bad people on everything. There's bad people who are young. There's bad people who are old. There's smart people who are old. Smart people who are young. This whole pitting each other, I'm not for that. And the media likes to drive that into our heads, and then you fight about it on social media. And I don't know if that's even... Fighting on social media is not real life. It's just not. People don't fight like that in real life because they're scared to.
Yep. 100% agree.
What are your guys' thoughts on that? Do you see the media blatantly trying to pin people together or against each other for clicks, for money? Or am I just going off on some crazy old man rant?
No, you're right. I think the media would maybe not own it to that degree, but they will.
And I'm in the media.
Right, exactly, totally. But I think that they would, in fact, concede that they are in the business of ratings. Like that's just facts.
But
CNN prides themselves on facts. That's a fact.
It infuriates me when they try to take matters of the heart, like social issues, matters of the heart, and really try to pin us against each other. When we were at a time where I think we should try to be coming together.
Totally.
Or do I, again, sound like a dirty hippie like Denny's?
No, you're right. And if you were in a debate class and you were like, well, what's the goal? Is your goal to inflame and get good ratings? Because I think that, yes, I agree with you to your point. That's what the media does. But if your goal is to move the needle and change minds, if I call you, like you and I are having some debate, and I was like, okay, radio person, does that help me?
All right, DJ.
Does that help me with my argument? No, it makes you retreat in your corner. You throw a wall up. You're defensive. And if my goal was to create an interesting, inflammatory conversation that was good for ratings, that might be good.
But if you're saying, okay, old man,
trying to solve something.
Okay, old woman, you're out of touch. You don't know what you're talking about.
It ruins it right there.
You're never gonna get. If you're constantly pitting people together about something they can't control, you're going to never get peace. You'll never achieve what you want to achieve.
See, I look at it from a different perspective. I look at it if you're reduced to name calling, it's kind of like, what was it, like the 70s when you're in an argument and all of a sudden you go, your mama, because you don't have another comeback.
Yes.
So if you're throwing out boomer, you don't have a good enough argument. That now you got to start the name calling.
Absolutely.
Here's the thing that fucking gets me about people who attack people on age. Motherfucker, do you think you're going to be 23 forever?
Right.
Are you out of your mind?
Yeah.
I think when you're 23, you do though.
You might be.
'Cause I used to feel like I was gonna be young forever. It's so funny how the tides turn.
Yeah, it's true.
What are your thoughts on this, Denny's?
I think it's a combination of everything you guys are talking about, but I think a lot of it is that humans just need easily digestible things to understand. So like how Beckett likes his analogies, all those are so great because they paint an immediate picture. You can understand the analogy quick. So when the media is trying to attach their agenda or their point, whatever you want to call it, to something, they're going to use something that's going to fuel that.
Yeah.
So if you attach ageism to that, clearly you're immediately going to get a reaction and your story is going to get picked up. So it's a combination of everything.
Yeah, and being in the media, we get how the
Totally.
salaciousness, will always...
Sensationalizing media will always be there because it pulls ratings.
It really is, and I guess that's my point. It's all about ratings. So you see all this shit people getting mad about.
Well, it takes credibility away.
It does, and some people don't. I guess just being in the media, we want to say, don't believe it all. Just, you can't.
Well, don't. And also, I mean, there's thousands of types of media. Like
Yeah.
if it's entertainment media, you can't take it as a political story. Unfortunately, it's entertainment.
Yeah.
And you got to cite your sources, man. There's so many publications out there that are run by lobbyists to push how they feel that the country needs to go.
Well, there's a new study out that says the kids or the younger generation feel more age discrimination than somebody that would be considered a boomer. That people who are older definitely get less age discrimination than somebody who's young. What are your thoughts on that? Vicki?
I guess it would depend on how much older you're talking about.
Okay, let's say
And it depends on what.
You're 65 years old and you're trying to get something done and people aren't helping you and there's some discrimination going on because people think, oh, you're X amount of years old. You can't do this or that. What do you think is more? The people who are younger, because they're saying that they can't get opportunities because they're young and no one's, there's a whole mindset of, oh, you're a millennial or you're
I think they both have an argument.
Thank you. That's my point. Every generation has had a fucking argument. There's no...
And we've all had it differently.
Yes, exactly. It's not changed. None of this has changed.
No.
Totally.
Yeah, it's just an easy thing to pick up to sensationalize things.
Yep.
You attach it. Next year it'll be something different.
It will be. Watch.
It'll be like tall people.
Yeah, tall people for short people. Can you believe this short?
Seriously, they'll play Randy Newman's song. It'll be a big thing.
We talked about it too. Someone emailed the KVJ show saying that there is skinny privilege. And skinny people get opportunity. I mean, if you dissected every element in life, everything has got a privilege of some sort when you think from a certain point of view.
From a certain point of view, everything has...
I can tell you fat privilege there's a fat privilege in comedy. There really is. If you're a fat dude, you have a big chance of getting in comedy because you can do physical, funny things. I mean, as PC, that is not, trust me, I gained weight a few years in radio because I knew it was good.
Yeah. If you're well endowed, you get more dates. just happens.
Yeah, it's deep ribs.
Quips all day long.
Quips.
Quips Becky tonight. Let's see how many people are cursing this topic. Sean wants to know, what's privilege in radio? What would you give? Because I do. Yeah, I think if you're a cafeteria worker, you have privilege with getting the cafeteria snacks.
That's right.
Yeah.
Over somebody who does not work at a cafeteria.
That's
My
true.
buddy worked at Arby's, man. He used to bring home so many chicken sandwiches.
So he's got Arby's privilege.
Dude, I don't even want to get too much into it, but so they used to get giant shipments of bags of the. So I bought this fryer just because. So my buddy, he ended up being my roommate, used to bring over. We're talking 128 chicken patties. That was all I ate. I lived off just chicken patties at Fryer.
Wow.
It's pretty rough on the body, but
Didn't someone just get killed over a chicken sandwich? Did you guys read that?
again,
Popeyes thing.
sensationalizing. You
Is it
wonder
crazy?
if Popeyes hired.
Give me a break. This fucking Popeye's chicken sandwich.
You wonder if Popeyes hired
is
two people to
not-
fight in their restaurant.
Give me a break with this hype train. It's insane.
People love it though, man.
They love the hype.
I just
trends.
skimmed right over it, but I heard about it. I heard people
Yeah.
talking about it.
It makes people want to try the. People get murdered over the sandwich. It makes people want to try the sandwich.
I tried the sandwich.
Okay.
Oh, it worked.
And-
How long were you in line?
Like 20 minutes in the drive-through.
That's-
Wow,
Okay, it's not
that's
too,
a
too
long-
It wasn't-
bad.
it wasn't
20
too bad.
minutes in a
Well, we're getting
drive-through?
reports for 2.5 hours.
Well,
but-
yeah, we're talking. People are waiting hours.
Yeah,
for
I
these
went
things.
in between like lunch and the real dinner
Okay,
time.
give us an honest assessment.
Honest assessment, I'm not a huge spicy chicken kind of person, but I have to say the crunchiness of it and the little mayo thing that they put on it, it was good. I hate to admit it, it really was good.
It garnished the hype that it deserves.
It really was
Get
good.
the hell out of here.
It
Get
really
out-
was.
No way.
Because I've had the spicy chicken from Chick-fil-A, I've had it from Wendy's, and then I had this one, and I do say it was my favorite of the
Alright.
You
three.
need to try it from Bud's, Vicky.
I'm a Possible Whopper fan. That thing is absolutely fire.
Yeah,
Impossible
I like
Whopper.
that thing, too.
You had one today,
Yeah,
and you loved it.
loved it.
Have you had it before?
I have had it before, but I
Yeah.
did also have it today.
Do you remember when I made you Impossible Burgers?
Yeah, whatever you made was phenomenal. It was really good.
Ariel, were you there for that? When we... No.
He
he
cooked
was
everyone
cooking.
burgers.
Cookout.
Oh, you?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Okay, all right. Yeah, it was that plant-based burger.
Yeah,
everyone's
Beyond
talking
Burger.
about. It's
good.
good.
It is. It's
Have
very
you put
good.
enough cheese and condiments? No, it actually is a good burger.
Yeah.
It's
Interesting.
crazy what's going on
I've
here.
had the Beyond, the one that you know,
Yeah.
that you cook, and it's like it has like the weirdest smell. I couldn't get the smell out
It's
of
a
my
rough
house.
cooking smell.
Yeah,
You-
it's kind of like corned beefish, dog foodish.
It's a weird
yeah,
smell, definitely.
kinda
I'll
smell.
back,
but
I'll
it
back
was
you up.
tasty.
You need to let the bird cook you a Beyond Burger, and I'm gonna take you Beyond and back.
Okay.
I think
But
K-
see, I had to eat it plain. I couldn't have it on bread or anything because
no.
it was, you
I would
know,
never
on
allow that
I
to
think
happen.
KFC's bringing Beyond Chicken. Did we talk about that? They're bringing.
Don't talk about KFC. I endorse Bud Chicken and Seafood.
I know. We just talked about what's it called.
Yeah, but I'm talking shit about them. I'm endorsing Bud. Bud's is the best. Yeah.
No, I actually do love Butts.
Everybody's implementing it. Yeah, I think Dunkin' Donuts also has it as well.
Yeah,
Beyond
they have on the
sausage.
breakfast sausage on their sandwich. Yeah, I gotta try that too.
Oh,
It's pretty
okay.
solid.
Yeah.
So I think we're gonna wrap up the email. We've been going about 63 minutes.
Do we have a question for the day? Or?
I do have a question for the day. It's a little morbid, but I actually don't think it is. I'm just so curious, especially with our audience. I'm very fascinated by that, by this question. What, in your opinion, do you think happens when you die? I want to know what your religion is, whether you have a religion, whether you don't know, if you have insecurities about it.
It's a good question.
Yeah, I would
Yeah,
love
it's
to
a great
know what your thoughts, good, bad, indifferent. Let me know. I would love to see 50 comments at least of people saying, and get deep with it. When Vicki is done doing the 48, I know you're still giving those readings.
Yeah, and again, I just have to reiterate, if you've received an email and you have an appointment time, please call at that time.
you
There's
still
only
get-
one person that they were a few minutes late and I didn't get their email, and I had an allergic reaction and I took a Benadryl, so when they called late, I had already passed out.
Oh,
So
jeez.
that's, but everybody else, just if you have an appointment time, please call. Like
Damn.
yesterday, my 7 o'clock called, my 8 o'clock did not.
Vicky sounded like my dentist. Bird, you got to call if you're not going to come in.
That's right.
Yeah.
All right, couple would you rathers real quick. We'll end this thing. Would you rather always feel the worst heartache? I mean, you just are constantly walking around with the worst heartache possible, or always have the worst diarrhea. Both are going. It's both constant.
Heartache.
I mean, it's
diarrhea.
It's the lowest. I mean, the worst.
I've been practicing for years. I'm good. I'll take the
But
heartache.
think about that and then add another 13% to it.
I'll take the heartache.
Wow.
Diarrhea.
At least you could write songs with the heartache, right?
Yeah.
You could technically write songs about diarrhea. I've actually done it.
When you're running down to first and you feel a juicy verse.
Yeah. If you're running down to home and you're.
God, I haven't thought of that song in forever.
All right, Denny's.
Why? Why is that, Beckett?
The heartache is so bad, Train.
Yeah, I'll do diarrhea.
I'll do diarrhea.
I'm going diarrhea, Vicky.
Going diarrhea.
Sorry.
Oh well.
Is that a
It's
gender?
awful.
Is that a gender thing? Or
Yeah, it's a guy thing.
I don't want to feel hurt, Vicky. Would you rather only speak like a donkey when communicating? So, for example, hey Denny's, how's it going? How's your wife Jen doing? And your talking cat Rufus? Or have a donkey ass and always have it exposed. It's a legit big old furry donkey
You
ass.
like a centaur, like a low budget centaur.
Like a low budget, like you have your regular body, but you just have this big donkey ass coming out of your body.
I get that badongadong.
I think I'm going donkey ass too. I think I could jump higher. I can run faster.
I'm so rocking that, Rocky and that donkey and ass.
That's awesome.
Vicky?
Donkey ass.
I think it
Okay.
would play well in Wellington.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah.
you would be great. Yeah, I think for me, I'd lose my job.
Why?
If I talk like a donkey.
Oh yeah.
That'd be awful.
Vicky, do you have a good donkey voice?
Yeah, I know.
It's not bad.
Yeah.
It's kind of like a.
talk like Eeyore.
Thanks for noticing me. I'm the worst character ever. And Snuffleupagus, two of the worst fucking characters ever.
There was a Thomas the Toy Engine episode where they introduced this train named Fred who was too afraid to come out of the tunnel. And I barely remember this. I could be remembering it incorrectly as a kid, but I think their solution was they just sealed him in and then never mentioned him again.
Bullshit.
I was like, how morbid is that?
sign
morbid.
Sign of the times, my friend.
Yeah, you gotta look up that episode if somebody does the research. I'm pretty sure that's how it went.
Honestly,
bury him.
I
They
mean,
just sealed him in and never talked about him again.
I think about all of Winnie Pooh's characters. You have Eeyore, even Piglet's a little bitch. He's always so nervous. Winnie the Pooh's a neurotic fuck.
Piglet.
Yeah, then you got Christopher Robin. Yeah,
Tick
I
is
don't-
ADHD.
Oh,
Yeah.
they're all fucked.
It's tough.
Rabbit's creepy, clearly doing something.
What about the
sexually. Owl is one of those know-it-alls that think they know everything that nobody can relate to. You're like, oh, Owl's coming tonight? Owl. I clearly don't like Winnie the Pooh.
Yeah.
All right, back to the
Serious stuff.
would you rather? Okay, would you rather? I'm gonna ask this to Denny's then Beckett,
All right.
and then Vicky. Would you rather fight Denny's, Beckett, or Jbird? Let's go with Vicky for who would be the toughest to fight in your opinion, out of us
The
three?
toughest to
physically.
fight?
The toughest or rather?
Or who would I rather fight?
Let's go with toughest. Out of the three, who do you think's the
Toughest, I wouldn't want to fight Beckett.
bitch boy?
Yeah. No, because
in
he's
shape.
probably got some training back
Just because
in
you're
there.
in shape doesn't mean you know how to fight, Vicky.
yeah.
Be careful of the guy with the snack gut.
With those dad jokes come dad strength.
Oh, there you go.
Quip Beckett. Hashtag quip Beckett.
He studied karate in Japan.
That's right.
All right, Beckett, you have to fight me or Denny's. Who are you more scared to fight?
More scared?
Yeah.
I think I'd rather fight Denny's because I will light up a spliff or something afterwards and like it'll all be all right.
Yeah, I'm trying to pick up weapon. I'm gonna try to bite you. I'm gonna say crazy. I'm gonna eat your thigh, Beckett.
Yeah, I'd be more scared to fight you.
Jaber would be the worst to fight.
You bring Hulk Hoagie out or some
He'd
kind of
go
craziness.
crazy.
I
Yeah.
would go crazy. That's fine. I think you misfired on that one, Vicky.
Yeah, but then if I hurt your feelings, you'll just cry like a bitch. So.
I like it. I like it. Okay, Vicky, would you rather fight your daughter or Bobby Joe?
Oh, I am not fighting Bobby Joe.
She would kick your ass.
Oh, she's my bodyguard.
She like Dalton from Roadhouse.
Oh, there is no way I'm getting in a fight with her.
Okay, so
Because I will just go immediately in the fetal position and just say I'm good.
And you're the mom. You can't be scared of your kid, right?
Yeah, no, I can
Say
take
that
her.
I took you in this world, or I put you.
I can take her, but Bobby, no, I'm not messing with Bobby Joe.
What's the best line from Roadhouse in your opinion, Bird?
Oh, well, be nice until it's not. Be nice until it's time to not be nice.
What about I used to fuck guys like you in prison.
You know what? Denny's is right. That's the best line. In the, funny enough, they don't put that line in when you're watching it on TBS.
That's right.
Just so you don't know, or just so if you don't know what we're talking about, Roadhouse is a movie with Patrick Swayze.
It has to be watched.
About a bouncer. It's the cheesiest shit. I think from 1989.
He's a spiritual bouncer.
And there's a part where he's fighting this other badass guy, and the guy looks at him and goes, I used to fuck guys like you in prison.
Oh my God, it's amazing.
So intense. And then Swayze rips his throat out.
Yeah, in front
Such
of
an
a
intense
woman.
scene. Okay, would you rather dry hump every person of the opposite sex anytime you see them out in public? I mean, think about the problems on that. Or kick every person in the private parts over the age of 60 anytime you see them.
Oh, jeez.
Hump.
I mean, you're gonna be in jail. Hashtag me too.
I think people actually know that that's what I do at that point.
Like, oh,
That's a terrible answer.
Oh,
Beckett.
everyone thinks it's awkward when Howie Mandel fist pumps everyone. Everyone just kind of knows that's what he does.
That's not dry humping though. You're like, say you meet your boss. Hey, what's up, boss? And you start dry humping your boss on his ass
It's dry.
for a little. I'm sorry. All right, Vicki, what do you go
I'm
with?
kicking the old people.
I'm kicking the old people.
you think
too.
you're less likely to come across them?
Well, I think they're not using their private parts as much, so a kick to the twat. I don't know.
I work with kids. I should be good.
Or the dong. Is that wrong?
I know. It's just caught me off guard.
That's what this podcast is
Yes.
about.
Yes.
Yeah, and if you are offended by this podcast, do me a favor. Go fuck yourself.
Oh, they don't email Kevin this time?
Dude, I'm so over people being offended. I can tell I'm going to that breaking point of my career that'll ultimately get me fired.
Yeah.
Just let it all hang out.
Absolutely. Okay, last question. Would you rather get married to someone you are not attracted to, who you just hate? I mean, personality level, you can't stand them. Is
there any money involved?
None. It's just that's your lot in life now. You are married to that person.
Is your house nice?
It's
Average.
mediocre at best, and for some reason, even when you vacuum, there's always speckles on the carpet.
All right, jeez.
Yeah, you can never get it clean. Or you get to murder 50 sex offenders. So now you have the whole. Well, some people have a tough time murdering people with the whole
Offenders or predators?
offenders.
Damn. So if they peed publicly, they would be a sex offender.
It's a mixed bag of what you get. You get a bag full of 50 people that you have to execute. So you execute 50 sex offenders or get married and live a life right this second of misery and terribleness.
Do I get in trouble for the 50 murders of the sex offenders?
Is it like Dexter?
The only trouble you get is your psyche. It really absolutely plagues you.
It's a tough one.
No, it was designed for back then. Wow, a lot of silence here.
How much time do we have to spend with our husband?
You guys have to spend at least 5 hours a day with each other. You're eating corn,
Beef
bread,
hash.
corn beef.
I'd kill the sex offenders.
Your wife has a question.
All right, let's see what
Or
she's
she has
got.
a quote. Some people have a tough time murdering people. Is that a quote from me? Was that from this podcast?
Some people.
Some people have a tough time.
Murdering people.
Some people have a tough time murdering
Yeah.
They have a real mental
right.
block.
Well, on that note, let's go and end this podcast. We've been going 82 minutes. It's 7:42. I didn't mean to keep you guys so late, but
all good.
the good times are rolling. And
As long as you're, cooking.
why not have some fun? Anything to plug, Vicki?
I do have to reschedule because I had a friend who had a personal crisis on Sunday, so I was not able to have my PICS event. So I will be rescheduling probably that first Sunday in December. So I do apologize for not going live because there were people, I've actually gotten several emails and messages. So I did have a friend that was in crisis and I had to deal with her. And but we will come back the first Sunday in December.
I love it. A programming note for y'all weirdos out there too. We are going to be taking the week off of Thanksgiving just due to vacation. The only thing we may do, me and Denny's may do something like a quick little
check in.
Yeah, just hey, how you guys doing? Get weird, because I get everyone's out of town. You guys are probably doing shit. So
Tofurkey?
tofurkey.
Do you like tofurkey?
I do like tofurkey, actually.
I never do it.
I kind of like how I'm trying to end this, and you bring tofurkey up, and now I want to get into a bait about tofurkey.
We'll
now.
save it for next time. It's a good one.
Is that the tofu turkey?
Yeah, it's really good.
So tofu, if you cut it up oh so thin and put enough ingredients in there, but it's got to be thin. That thick tofu grosses me out.
Yeah.
It's got to be
Cubes.
sliced and diced, baby.
Yeah.
I got a high tolerance for tofu.
Oh,
Yeah.
I know you tofu, dude. All right, let's end this shit. All right.
All right.
We love you all, and
Bigfoot is real.